Hello, friends, and welcome to Service of Change's Changecast, your podcast for change. I'm your host, Dennis Nappy II, with Service of Change, where small changes among the masses can have a massive impact around the world. It's been about a month since we have been on the air. Things have been a bit hectic for all three of us involved in this Changecast endeavor. But Lori Latimer and myself are back on the air this evening. Mr. Joel the Provocateur Schaefer is still tied up with some technical difficulties. He will be joining us shortly, just giving him a shout out right now. Miss you, Joel. Hope you're listening to us. But tonight, Lori and I are going to hold a discussion about the pros and cons of eating organic and healthy foods. And we're going to focus on the news that just came out, and Lori just informed me of this, that Whole Foods admits they are overcharging for people to eat healthy. That really infuriates me. But before we get into my little temper tantrum, let me bring on Miss Lori Latimer, the queen of the tweets, and see how she's doing tonight. Lori, how the heck are you?
I'm actually feeling really great. I don't know, things have been going pretty well lately, and I'm just so happy to be doing this podcast tonight. So thanks
I
for.
love Happy Lori. Happy Lori is a good thing. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's been a challenging month for I just getting this thing online. I mean, a couple nights we were like, all right, we're ready to go, and then like an hour before it, I'm like, hey guys, it's not gonna happen tonight. Sorry, had to go ahead and cancel it. So I miss doing the show though. So to our listeners out there, I'd like to apologize, and we're not going away. We just had to take a little hiatus to get things squared away. You know. So,
Yeah.
what's anything new and exciting in your world, Lori?
Um, yeah, this is nerdy, but I really love my field of social work, and my profession is really important to me, and I'm very excited because I just um got selected to do my first conference presentation.
Mm-hmm.
So in the fall, I'll be presenting at the National PACE conference here in Philadelphia, and PACE stands for Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. It's the model that I work for now, which is a program that helps older adults. So I will be a presenter, and I am so excited about it.
That is amazing, Lori. I'm excited for you on that. Now, is what like is this an online presentation you're gonna be doing? Like you
Yes,
gonna do
it's like
death by PowerPoint or what?
I'll be doing it in front of people,
Mm-hmm.
live. I have a presentation, a PowerPoint, and it's going to be on a counseling approach called motivational interviewing, and its applicability to older adults.
Wow. Well, I'm sure you're gonna do awesome. If your book signing for The Art of Service was a preview as far as how well you do in front of a crowd. So best of luck to you. Please keep us posted. Let us know how it goes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, good stuff. And speaking of which, the art of service. If to our listeners, if you notice, I snuck that plug in there. That's called a sneaky service
Hmm.
exchange
Hmm.
plug. I'm getting better at that. But let me use that as a segue. Lori's book, The Art of Service, a collection of haiku poems, is available online in both ebook and paperback formats on Amazon.com and at serviceofchange.com. And I highly encourage you check out our bookstore at serviceofchange.com for the books that we have published through Service of Change. It is a growing list that I'm very, very proud of as we have new authors that we're working with, and we also continue to publish our own books and have our own projects in the works that we're going to have there. And if you subscribe to our newsletter, which is a free newsletter, just give us your email address. You're going to automatically get a discount code of 10% off of all books that you purchase through our Service of Change store. And that's really the best way to support Service of Change. You get some great things to read, and that money is going to go to stuff like maintaining the website and our newest endeavor, which is Service of Change Radio. And this has been a pure headache to get up and running. I'm going to be honest, but I'm very proud of it because right now we have Service of Change content broadcasting 24/7. I have a new project that I'm working on 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. You can catch the Seeker podcast. For those of you that have taken an interest in, my book, I Am Human, And that little adventure that I'm talking about and exploring as far as the nature of humanity, some of the paranormal stuff, this show covers all of that. It's about 20 minutes to a half hour. Recorded new every morning, Monday through Friday, and that plays on a loop from 9 a.m. till 3 p.m. So you can catch it any point during the morning, and then from 3 p.m. until 9 p.m. as of right now. Now, this schedule will change because we have other podcast hosts that are interested in joining the network. We're in the process of scheduling. But as of right now, from 3 p.m. until 9 p.m., you get Changecast archives, which is awesome. You just hear a list of our, I think we have 50 Changecasts out there right now. So we got the majority of them uploaded to the server, and they're just playing all afternoon long. And then overnight, we have archives of our Seeker podcasts in case you want to catch up on old shows. And you can also catch us on YouTube. Dennis Nappy the second. Just look for me, NAPPI. You'll find it, and there's a Changecast playlist right there where you can catch them all. And obviously, go to our servicechange.com website, and you can find all of our archived Changecasts. A bunch of them are coming off of iTunes, unfortunately, just because our server's at capacity. But you'll still have the YouTube links. You'll still have the show notes. Like I said, we're a no-budget operation, so we got to cut corners in certain spots. So we'll keep our most recent ones up on iTunes. But please check it. And like I said, you can listen through YouTube. They're never coming down, unless we get forced to take them down. So far, so good. A lot of good things are going on there. Check out servicechange.com. I've reconfigured a lot of stuff, hopefully for a better user experience. And I highly encourage you, get the Service of Change mobile app. It's free. Go to servicechange.com, click the banner at the top, and just save it to your home screen. And that way you can listen to Service of Change radio through your mobile device. That's how you can get the podcast, get the Seeker podcast, the Changecast, everything. And like I said, we have some other interested podcast hosts. They've actually, if one of them contacted me today, said he's interested in bringing a show to our network, and I'm really excited. He's a former guest. I'm not going to give any more information other than that, but a good friend and a former guest on the Changecast show. So I'm excited to see what he has to offer in terms of podcasts for us as well. So it's definitely a growing network. Look it up, bookmark it. When you need some inspiration and motivation for ideas for change, definitely check it out. I'm going to beg you, please share our stuff. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell the newspapers, call the president, let them know, hey, this is great stuff here at Service Change. Lori, I am talking a lot, just giving plugs. My apologies. You just got to tell me to shut up.
That's okay. That's okay.
But it's been a while since I've been on the air, and you know me, I like to talk, and I haven't had a chance to run my mouth in a little bit. So, but no, in all seriousness, I'm excited about all the stuff we have for our users and our readers out there. So look for our newsletter to our followers with it probably next Monday. This week I didn't get one out just because I've been so tied up getting all this background stuff set up. So I hope, I missed 1 week, but I hope next week to have our newsletter back out. I've been getting some good feedback on the newsletters that have been going out weekly. To our readers and stuff. I am so thankful to those of you that have been writing to me and sharing your thoughts and experiences. You are part of this community, and without you, I would be very sad because your emails sometimes are what keep me going. Because sometimes I'm like, man, nobody's listening, nobody's reading our stuff, and then when we hear from you guys, it really, really lifts our spirits. So thank you very much. All right, Lori, did I get through everything?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I hope so.
I hope so too, because I don't want to go on anymore. I hope our listeners are still with us, not going, oh my gosh, Dennis, please stop plugging stuff. But okay, so let's jump into this. So I don't know much about this other than what you started to tell me before the show, Lori. But we're going to talk about, I'm a big fan of eating healthy and organic and non-GMO food products. It's a big subject right now, in the food world, in the Western diet. Whole Foods used to be or is one of the places to go to get your stuff, your food, this type of food. Lori tells me there's been something in the news recently about Whole Foods and what they have been charging. Lori, can you enlighten us a little bit more?
Sure. So the Department of Consumer Affairs investigated Whole Foods to see if they were overcharging their prepackaged foods. Mm-hmm. So things like meat and dairy, baked goods, hand-cut produce and things like that, and they found that they were overcharging. And the company kind of chalked it up to like employees like messing up the labels and stuff like that.
Right.
but I think a lot of Whole Foods customers somehow felt vindicated because, like a lot of people jokingly call Whole Foods whole paycheck because,
Right.
they have some good deals, but it is pretty expensive to shop there.
Hmm.
Um, and especially like, I pay attention to the fitness world because of the sports I play, and, everyone's obsessed with eating clean and, you know, eating, not foods that aren't processed, very much and organic and like, you know, it's sometimes it's hard to actually maintain that lifestyle because it can be expensive. Um, so I think Whole Foods customers were like, yeah, I knew it was a ripoff all along.
Right. Right. But that I think is an incredibly frustrating thing that we go through when we're trying to we understand that this food is very bad for us. So we try to eat healthy, and the healthy stuff is so expensive, and the junk stuff is so cheap. And like I know in my family, we are on a very, very tight budget, and we've had to cut things. I mean, we cut cable out. We had to decide, what's more important to us. And we decided, well, we can cut, $50 a month out here or whatever, $100 how much we were paying, and put it toward food, healthy food, because we got two small kids, and my wife and I are very, into eating, putting good food into our bodies. So to buy healthier food, we had to give something else up. That's just not right, Lori. And now Whole Foods is charging even more, on top of everything else.
Yeah, yeah, and this was and for New York City, the inspectors say that it looked like the worst case of mislabeling that had been seen in a long time. Um, so yeah, it's pretty upsetting. For the reasons that you're saying, like you want to do well for yourself and take care of yourself, and it feels out of reach
Hmm.
sometimes.
That's it. It feels like I'm forced to, you know, I'm forced to eat poison sometimes. I mean, really, that when we break it down, that a lot of the time that's the stuff that we're buying and putting, like the cheap stuff. It's toxic to our bodies. We can tolerate it in certain quantities, but it's toxic. It's slowly, increases our level of disease. I got to say, I've cheated. I cheat from time to time, more so now that I'm home all day every day during the summer, but. I have my raw unfiltered apple cider vinegar. I'm taking about 2 tablespoons of that a day. Some kind of bug has been going through my house. I mean, it's bad. Like my son had it first. He's been coughing and his nose has been running. He's cured of it now, but and it was coming through his eyes. It almost looked like pink eye, and his eyes were crusting shut. And this lasted about 2 weeks for him. Then it went to my daughter, and then and she's fine now, but now my wife has, she has the cough and the sore throat aspect of it, and I haven't gotten it. I'm not saying I'm not going to get it in a week, but I'm wondering if the apple cider vinegar that I take regularly, a lot of my home remedies and the herbs that I eat to try to stay healthy and food conscious, I wonder if that's boosted my immune system to help me fight off this infection that's been going through my house pretty rapidly.
You know, I would I would be inclined to agree with you. I mean, I just know um, from my personal experience, like there was a time when I was sick constantly, and my doctors couldn't really figure out what was wrong with me, and out of desperation, I started going to a five elements Chinese acupuncturist.
Mm-hmm.
And so, in addition to acupuncture, she actually had me incorporate a lot of herbs into my diet,
Yep.
and had me change some things about how I was eating. And for the first time in months, I felt a lot, a lot better,
Yep.
and I wouldn't, like I said, like I went out of her for desperation, kind of like whatever, I'll try anything, not really expecting, to feel any different.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'll never forget that. That really kind of changed
And
the
that's
way.
that's the difference, I think, between, that's that Western mindset is, I feel crappy, give me a pill, fix it now. And it's not the way this works. A pill may give you some temporary relief, but then you're going to crash again. Now with the holistic approach, you're treating your whole body, and it's not an overnight fix. You have to cleanse yourself of all the bad garbage, and then what you put back in your body needs to be the good stuff that really is going to allow your body to get into its optimal condition so your body can heal itself, use its
Hmm.
immune system to fight off those infections and those diseases naturally. And that's what the holistic approach really does. And it took me a while to understand that, because I used to say, well, I'm sick and I'm taking, I'm eating a bunch of garlic, why am I not getting better? It's because, well, you didn't have a good baseline. You got to get your body into a nice healthy state,
Hmm.
so then it can fight these diseases on its own. You can't wait until you're sick to start trying to get better. You got to, so we need to change our approach on that, which is why it's even more frustrating, because this needs to be an everyday occurrence to find out that these stores are charging more just to stay healthy. And then on the flip side, here I go. On the flip side, when you're sick, they charge you an arm and a leg for the medicine, to get better in these pharmaceutical drugs and these pharmaceutical companies.
So, right, so you want to take the preventative approach,
Mm-hmm.
and then you feel like it's not practical for your budget.
Right.
And I think, the thing that I see a lot, in the field of social work, I work with, communities that are lower income, and there is a connection you see between, people that live at or below the poverty line and physical health.
Mm-hmm.
You see a lot of COPD, diabetes, hypertension, a lot of really serious oral health problems. And, in the neighborhoods that I've worked in, there's not, access to nutritious
That's it.
food. You know,
There's no grocery stores. You
no,
have the
it's
corner
just
store that sells a bunch of garbage in there.
and it's in the McDonald's, and and then it's like you fault these kids for being obese and for not being able to pay attention in school
Mm-hmm.
and all this stuff, but it's like it's a systemic problem,
Yep.
and it's not. I mean, it doesn't feel fair. It's like if you are living in a community that doesn't have the resources to keep you healthy, which would give you a better chance at, doing better in school, which down the line would help you, you know,
Right.
with anything that, any post-secondary education or employment you might want to have. Um, you're, and when you're sick, you can't do very much,
You're right. It affects everything.
Um, so and we call those kinds of communities food deserts because, there's only these tiny little pockets where you can get things, and, it's too much sugar, too much salt, too much fat.
Now, there is a solution, and I mean, me, I'm all about the small changes and easy things that we can do, that are going to make this a lot better for people. And I talked about this not from the small changes aspect, just from this is an idea that I've been always interested in doing. But it really can be a small change with a massive impact in your own life, your health, the health of your family, and the health of your community, which can have a huge ripple effect if everybody would just start doing this. If you want to eat healthier, but you're in a neighborhood where they don't sell healthy foods, or healthy foods are too expensive, I'm in the process of putting some different systems together now. About a year to 2 years ago, I started juicing in the morning. I make a smoothie. I have the NutriBullet, and it's fantastic. Um, and I put like spinach and all these different things in there. And I started growing my own sprouts. Now, for those that aren't familiar with what sprouting is, you basically take your seeds from, your organic seeds from certain different types of greens, you soak them in water for 24 hours, and you put them in your sprouter. Now, the sprouter is basically just a Tupperware container with some holes in the bottom. You pour some water in it twice a day. The water wets the seeds, and then it drains through the holes so the seeds have some time to dry and to breathe. within 3 to 5 days, that Tupperware container that maybe had seeds just covering the bottom of it is filled to the top with sprouts. And if you let it go a little bit longer, you have microgreens. You don't even need sunlight in the beginning stages to get these sprouts to germinate. Now, sprouts hold more nutritional value than the full-grown plants. They have a lot more nutrients. They're a lot better for you. And now the plants have their own value, their own health value, that the sprouts don't offer you. But the sprouts are a great source of a lot of vitamins and nutrients that the American diet is lacking nowadays. So it's so easy to do. It's so inexpensive, that you can make your own sprouter, but you can buy, I think we paid like $10, $15 for our sprouter, another $10 for a big bag of organic seeds that lasts me about a year. And I'm going through these, probably a tablespoon of seeds every, I don't know, 3 to 4 days. So, and I have them in my smoothie every day. So that's one possibility that people can do. They can start sprouting to get some fresh, healthy greens to put in salads, put in smoothies, to just add to supplement your diet. I mean, that's step one. Have you heard about that, Lori? Have you heard about sprouting?
Yeah, a little bit, because I live in a world that has a lot of health conscious people, and
right.
Like a lot of my friends, we have hippie streaks in us, so
right.
So we really like to be able to provide for ourselves in that way, and just but it is important. It is important to know how to do little things like that, things. And I know that in some places, like, there are outreach programs that help communities like learn about stuff like that, because it's hard. Like, if it's not on your radar to begin with, like,
right.
And you can go to the doctor for your physical, and he can tell you to cut out this and cut out that, but it's so rare that when you go to the doctor that you're given ideas like that.
You're absolutely right. Yep. No, they're not, because doctors aren't trained that way. You do get, every so often you get a doctor who's on that same holistic path. My son's doctor he's from India. And I walk into a doctor's office going, I don't want anything to do with you. I'm here because, we got to get our checkup for our kid, but I don't think you're going to help us at all, really. And he sat there one day and he says, okay, well, why don't you try eating this, give him this, add this to his diet, do this, do that. And I said, you're a pretty educated guy, for a doctor in this type of stuff. Normally I don't talk about this. And I started telling him some of the stuff we were into. He's like, yeah, I never hear parents that understand the diet this way. And it was just really refreshing to see a doctor promoting the same stuff that I'm always saying. He's saying, I'd rather see your kid eat healthy than have to prescribe some kind of medicine for him. I said, that's what I'm talking about. You don't hear that often from doctors. So it's a little tangent there, but I think that if we could adopt that, and then there's another, I talked about this morning. If you check out the Secret podcast, just go to the link at Service of Change. You'll see the YouTube video the next day or so. But these alternatives you can do your sprouts, which is probably the easiest. And then I just built a hydroponics system. Real easy. I took 4 old water bottles and I connected them. I put a hole in the bottom of 3 of them and connected the top of one to the bottom of the other and turned them upside down. And you cut little holes in the sides of the lower ones, and you fill it with a grow medium, like some kind of gravel or whatever, where you put the seeds. And the bottom one is your collection jar. The water, you keep the water in the bottom jar, and you add some nutrients and stuff, which I talk about, how to do that. And basically you pour it into the top one, and then it drips down through each container, and then you connect the collection jar again at the bottom, and and it saves the water. So you're using the same water in a closed system. You hang it up in front of your window, and your greens grow. And if you just look up urban gardening or pop bottle hydroponics system on YouTube, there's thousands of videos, and the crops that these people are growing in what really was basically plastic trash hanging from people's windows. I mean, they're self-sufficient. They are getting all the vegetables and greens they need from a square footage space of just your front window. It's fascinating, and I don't understand why more of us aren't trying this and doing this, because it's free. Once you just got to buy the seeds. So really, I encourage you, if this is something you're interested in, especially if you're a teacher and you're looking for great products and things to teach your students, in science and horticulture, whatever, look into this program and start teaching our students about this, how to eat healthy and how to grow your own stuff. I really think it's a fascinating thing that I'm currently exploring right now, and I'll have some pictures and videos coming up on the subject. Sorry, Larry, I'm excited about this
Yeah,
topic.
no, and
Definitely.
it is awesome because like I think that's we're starting to become more aware and thinking more about where our food comes from and how what we buy not only affects our bodies but the planet,
Hmm.
because it's one thing there's a difference between consuming vegetables that you grew in your home and consuming vegetables that came on a plane from like Chile or something like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
um so stuff that you're doing is really cool because I think that sometimes we feel like food is supposed to like come to us,
Hmm.
you
We do.
know,
We're lazy.
and you're you're discovering that maybe you're not in a position to like raise pigs and cows and stuff like that, but there are some things that you can do
Right?
that
Yeah, I'm raising chickens.
yeah, right, you have your chicken. So
Hmm.
and just depending on where we all live, like not everyone could probably have a chicken coop like you do,
Right.
but people could you know do the kind of DIY hydroponics that you're talking about.
And take it a step further, this is my next project, is an aquaponics system which involves the fish, and this is a big one too, and it doesn't take a lot of space. I've seen these systems where it's 2 feet wide by 5 feet long, a space, just put it in a corner somewhere, and you're good to go, and you can grow enough greens to feed your family for the entire year. And what an aquaponics system is again, it's a closed system, so you have a tank at the bottom where you have fish, and a lot of people will put tilapia in there right now. That's a big one because you can eat the tilapia. So you have your fish in there and your fish poop, and the water with the fish poop is filtered up into what's called your grow bed, and you have your plants sitting in there. You don't have soil; they sit in some like these clay pebbles or some kind of grow medium, and the water fills the bed, soaks the roots. The roots soak up the fish poop water and clean it and take the, I don't know if it's the nitrates or the nitrites, whatever's bad for the fish. They take that out. They filter the water. The water then gets dumped back in the fish tank, nice and clean, for the fish to breathe again, and the cycle just continues. And your plants are, the people's plants are fast, just they're growing so well. So I look at agriculture right now and the way we're doing things with the business side of agriculture, not your small farms, but that all these businesses where you have all this runoff and this that's polluting our waters and just changing our environment. With these closed aquaponics systems, there's no waste. Everything gets used. Everybody wins. The fish are healthy and happy. The plants are growing. We get to eat the plants. I don't know, and it's such a small amount of space. So we have that potential. We're just not doing it. So I think, this is me being a dreamer here, if we could do that, if everybody had their own small system in their home, that, number one, that would shut down a lot of these big businesses that are polluting the planet. Number two, that would just make everybody so much more healthy. And once you understand where your food comes from, you have more respect for it. You're less wasteful of it. In all honesty, we just grew, I think we pulled 4 beans off our little bean plant out front tonight, and we're so excited about it. My son doesn't even want to eat them. He says, they're my beans. I love them, but
Oh,
we have more respect for our food. And I think we're so far removed from that, especially when it comes to the meat industry too. We don't have to kill our own food, so we can just throw it out. It doesn't mean anything to us. But I really thought about this year because I'm a fisherman, and with the trout that I catch, I have to kill them. And I feel horrible. I feel so bad that I have to take a life because I hate doing that. But as I go through that process, I feel a connection to that being, to that life. And I sit there and I make a promise like, okay, well, I'm not going to waste this because this fish literally gave its life so I can eat and I can feed my family tonight. And that means something to me. And we're so far removed from that now. And that's why we can slaughter, millions of pigs every year and millions of chickens, and cows and everything. So
yeah,
there's my 2 cents.
well, yeah, and so it's like then when you have businesses like Whole Foods, they're kind of like presenting you like the happy end product of what
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to create in your home,
Right.
which I think is like is nice. Like we have to start somewhere. Like
Mm-hmm.
you have to learn first before you can kind of jump in and do the kind of projects you're doing.
Right.
Um, which is why it's tough. It's tough. Like going back to the financial aspect, and it does feel like there is a divide between people who get to choose to be healthy and people that don't really have any kind of say in the matter.
Right.
Um, which is why, like, I think it's great now that most farmers markets will accept SNAP benefits, the
Mm-hmm.
food stamps,
Mm-hmm.
and they're more and more, especially, I mean, I know in Philadelphia they're everywhere, which is
Mm-hmm.
which is just nice. And like, I think dairy and meat are still pretty expensive at farmers market, but the produce is so cheap.
Right.
And to have, even though it's like not as cool as growing in your backyard, but to know that you know you choose vegetables that still have dirt on them because they were picked like the day before
Yeah.
and came from like 45 minutes away. Like that's pretty
That's a
cool.
big deal. That's a big deal, and even if and if this isn't for you, that's okay. Um, if you just want to go buy, your healthy stuff like from a farmer's market, like Lori's saying, because then and that way too, you're investing into the local economy again too, which only helps us, in the long run as well. Um, you
And
can also, oh, go ahead, Lori. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, and the thing that and this is the hippie in me. The thing that I've liked about going to farmers markets is that I think it does foster a sense of community.
Mm-hmm.
Like like anytime you support something local, you form a camaraderie with the other patrons, and then also the vendors too.
Right.
And I think I don't know. I just think that's like a really nice, unique thing to experience. And it kind of changes the way that you approach just what you buy in general when you're, that kind of consumer power is tied to something so positive like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
a farmer's market community.
Like you said, it fosters that community. You get to know people, and you learn things, and
Yeah.
that's so important.
Yeah,
And
you can talk to the guy and be like, oh, like, when did you plant these beets and
hmm
what was the process like and how should I cook them and or even like, in the fall when there are 8 different kinds of apples.
yeah,
And you can talk to the farmer about, you know, why you use this apple for a pie and this apple to eat raw. And, I don't know, it's just to actually like get the firsthand interaction I think is really cool.
yeah, and I think it's important too. It's neat when we got our chickens, and then I purchased we purchased stuff off of Craigslist from time to time, my wife and I, and like the one guy we purchased a floor to go underneath our wood burner that we're going to be putting in this summer for the upcoming winter, and I saw this guy and I pulled up to his house and he's got a small chicken coop out front and he's got his own little garden in the front and just like a garage full of just stuff that I know he's holding on to so he can build his own things. And I spoke to him for about 2 seconds, and I just understood he was on the same exact page as me. And it's almost like speaking a different language with somebody, or speaking in code. It's like, hey, are you interested in change? Are you interested in being self-sufficient? And we both picked up on it without ever really saying, hey, you into this? And by the end, we're shaking hands. We exchanged phone numbers. And it's pretty neat to just meet people like that through these different, in ventures that we have, like-minded people. So we are out there, and just about everybody I've ever met who's interested in this stuff is always willing to share and to help teach you how to do it yourself, because that's the whole point of it. We want everybody to be self-sufficient and not have to rely on these chemicals and these companies that put that stuff out there. We're coming up on the end of the show, Lori, so I just want to give you about a 2-minute warning.
Okay.
My fault. I'm the one that needs a warning with how much I talk. Do you want to jump into final thoughts? Any final thoughts you want to throw out there?
Um, I think just that I'm excited to see where we'll go with our connection to food
Mm-hmm.
over the next few years because you even see the trend in fast food as well, like of trying to be more health conscious.
Right.
And I'm interested to see how far it will go and how sustainable it will be for people, and like the kind of projects that you're doing at home, if you'll see them not just like in a house like yourself with like college educated people in you know the beautiful mountains that you live in, but just even like you know city neighborhoods with
Mm-hmm.
like North Philly,
Mm-hmm.
people growing their own vegetables. I mean that I'm curious to see what happens because it does feel like I don't know, you can kind of turn anything into like a form of resistance
That's it right there. Yep.
against oppression, and like food and nutrition could be a way that you know communities that don't have a lot of resources can kind of you know just get back at being forced to eat fast food by just taking things into their own hands.
You hit the nail on the head, Lori, and I try to stay away from those words, but that's exactly how I feel is that, no, and I'm glad you said it because I want to shout it
Okay.
all the time that this is the revolution. This is the resistance, and it's not violent. We want to bring about change. I'm going to have my own garden in my house that you can't touch, where you can't control what I'm eating. That's revolution right there. I'm going to teach myself stuff, that I want to learn. Like,
Well, yeah,
that's
I mean, what's more
resistance.
dangerous than education and self-sufficiency?
Exactly. I don't need you, Mr. State, Mr. Government. I'm not saying we should have total anarchy, but
Oh, no, no, no.
but
I like rules. Rules are good
right.
for safety.
But at the same time, we had to have to have a common ground, But we're being so many people are being panicked, and the information we talk about on the show sometimes. I always try to say it may be scary, but there's hope, and we try to always offer a solution. I just wrote an article the other day quoting a study that was just released. Earth is currently facing its sixth mass extinction, and they contribute that to the human footprint. Basically, we are destroying the planet. It's well underway. They said certain species that normally would take 800 to 10,000 years to go extinct have disappeared in 100 years, the last 100 years. So this is real. This is really happening. It
Hmm.
sounds scary, but the article says there's hope. We just need to change what we're doing right away.
Right.
And it's possible. And it's so easy. Yes, there's a learning curve, there's challenges you're going to face. But I've had fun every step of the way learning this new lifestyle of self sufficiency. It's a
Hmm.
little hard in the beginning. Now it's just part of my everyday routine. I get up, I pour a glass of water into my sprouter. Not that hard, So take the time and learn. You want revolution, you want resistance. That's it. You don't need to run out in the streets and get violent and get crazy and start shooting people. There's no need for that at this point. Just start doing these little things. Now, if somebody starts kicking in your door because you have a garden, you may have a different story. Unless that garden's an illegal drug or something, that's a whole different debate.
Right.
But all right, Lori, I did it again. I'm running my mouth. So let me defer to you one more time. Anything else to add, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up the show.
Um, Nothing more to add. Just that I'm really glad that we got to do this tonight, and it feels good to be having great conversations again, and just kind of seeing where the night takes us. It's good.
I will follow that up with samesies. I absolutely wholeheartedly agree. I don't care how goofy that word sounds. I love saying samesies.
I'm
I
glad this
just
is recorded for
I
everyone
just
because
came
I like hearing it too.
I just came out of the closet with my samesies. Occasionally I'm replying to text with samesies, but I actually said it out loud tonight. Uh, Side note, it's from the movie Superbad when the kid's like, "Oh, samesies." I just thought that was always funny when he said that. So there you go.
Oh
So I'm gonna go
man.
ahead and bury my head now in shame with my love of the word samesies, the expression samesies. But in all honesty, to our listeners out there, let me go ahead and wrap up this show. Thank you for being a part of this this movement to change. I encourage you, please continue to share our stuff. Check out the Secret Podcast Monday through Friday. Starting at 9 a.m. on Service to Change Radio. Just go to servicechange.com/radio. You can find the links for it. It's right there. Download the mobile app by clicking on the Service to Change image at the top of the homepage. Save it to your home screen. You'll get everything that you need right there. And please check out our bookstore, servicechange.com/bookstore, and get one of our books, whether it's on ebook or the paperback, which I love holding a book in my hands. It all supports the show. We want to get this message out to more and more people. We are really trying to make a positive difference without encouraging people to get crazy and violent, because you don't have to. I'm so excited about how easy it is for us to do it. I just need more people to catch on. So that's where I reach out to you, the listener, the reader, the follower. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's the best way to stay in contact with us. I love getting emails from people. I respond as soon as I have an opportunity to. So please reach out to me. Let me know your thoughts on this. Let me know what kind of stuff you want to hear on the Changecast. Lori, Joel, and I are coming back into full gear. Like I said, things have been challenging over the last month for us, but we're not going away. Joel will be back with us in the next week or so once he gets his technical issues taken care of. I want to give a big shout out to Joel. I know he's here in spirit with us. Joel, I'm looking forward to having more of our deep intellectual discussions with you in the future as well. So, Lori, thank you for stepping up, off the Twitter feed and onto the airwaves with us tonight. I greatly appreciate all the support that you give us.
Of course, and I have an idea, but I'm going to tell you when we're off the air.
Oh, that's not fair to our listeners, but okay. All right, we're gonna leave that teaser for them, and maybe you'll hear about it in social media or on our future Changecast next week. So, thank you all of you again from the bottom of my heart. It's great to be back on the airwaves doing another Changecast. I'm Dennis Nappy II with Service of Change, where small changes among the masses can have a massive impact around the world. Be that change. Thank you.